Google VO broke the internet recently. I don't know. Did you see that happen? It's the AI tool that generates full cinematic videos from a written prompt. So, who saw Google VO come out? What was it, last week? Let me know in the comments. But the realness of human AI, it's getting better and better and pretty quickly, which I'm surprised by. It's not there yet for sure. Like, to me, I can still see through the facial expressions, right? And it's kind of awkward, but it is getting close. And many people are actually being fooled. But when you watch this like real life AI, there's this little hollow feeling. Do you feel that? Let me know in the chat room if you feel that when you watch it. Even if you don't know it's AI, there's this little feeling of something's off a little bit, right? And people are using AI everywhere. They're using AI images if they don't feel like putting makeup on that day. And many people just can't stop asking the question, if anyone can create this polished video without showing up on camera, where does that leave us, the real humans? And it's interesting to me because the pandemic, it brought us all closer, right? The pandemic showed us how much we needed human interaction. We were desperate for it. And now suddenly that's over. AI is ubiquitous, and the gap between creator and audience is getting wider. And that is the trust recession in action. Amy Porterfield used this phrase on her podcast recently, and I just fell in love with that phrase because it's so true. We're surrounded by content that looks incredible, but if we don't know that, is this a real person behind it? Is it AI? Do they care about us? Who is this? And if we don't know who to trust, we don't engage. And guess what? We don't buy, right? And your audience is really feeling that too. They're not just evaluating your tips. They're not just looking at your tutorials. They're evaluating your presence. They're asking, are you real? Do you see me? Can I trust you to guide me? So in this moment, when AI is getting louder and louder and louder, the really cool thing is that your humanness becomes your superpower. And I personally find this incredibly exciting because the trust recession actually gives you power. People are more guarded than ever online, right? We went from super trust during the pandemic to too much to do, overcommitted, burnt out. Trust is gone because AI is everywhere and your audience knows it. And that means real personality, vulnerability, humanity are no longer nice to haves. They are survival tools now. And we used to build trust in a funnel, right? You would get somebody to opt in, you would build trust through an email sequence, but now you build trust before they ever enter the funnel. And trust isn't something that you build once and then they register for, let's say, your webinar or your launch event. It's something that they feel in your presence so much longer before that. And if they don't trust you, they're never going to click register. They're never going to buy in the first place. So that's what we really have to pay attention to. Okay. So, whoops, I went too far. I'm going to get to that. So now that we've established that trust is the currency that we are working with right now, we got to talk about what actually makes people engage, right? Why do some posts get crickets while others spark real connection and engagement and comments? So we're going to start with their brain. Not your brain, well, everybody's brain. But every single person watching your videos, reading your emails, seeing your posts, they're not just absorbing your words anymore, right? They're filtering everything that you say through a simple question. Do I see myself in you? It might be their past self, their present self, or even the future hopes of who they could one day become in you, in your message, and in your content. So when your audience sees you on camera, their brain is looking for mirrors. And we're talking emotional ones, right? This is called mirror neurons. They're what fire in our brain when we observe somebody doing something or expressing something that we recognize in ourselves. And it's triggering this empathy and running our entire social behavior. It is the reason that we go like, oh, when somebody stubs their toe. Or you might feel happy when you see somebody achieving success. Or you feel excited when you see somebody announce a marriage or a new baby. When your audience sees you sharing something that they have felt, it could be nervousness, it could be frustration, excitement, uncertainty. Their mirror neurons go, oh my God, yes, that's me. I have felt that. I know that feeling. And that is when, the connection happens. Even if they haven't personally felt that specific thing, these mirror neurons are activating through empathy. And so just witnessing or emotionally understanding somebody else's experience is enough to fire. That's the connection. And that you have to understand in order to get traction with your content and with your social. It's not, when you list bullet points, it's not when you present data, it's when they feel seen. So here's an example. I was at a dinner table in Nashville with a bunch of high-performing women entrepreneurs recently. None of us knew each other. And I don't think I was alone in having that kind of internal fear, right? Where I was like, I don't really want to be the smartest person at the table, but oh my God, these people are way better than me. You know what I mean, right? That feeling. But one of the conversations that came up, a woman asked this one question as we were trying to get to know each other. Have you ever had something embarrassing happen while you were live? And immediately the table came to life. Everyone came in with their most embarrassing stories, their awkward moments, the oohs, and oh my God, are you serious? That really happened? The laughter, it just filled the table because there was instant connection, instant likability. And that is the power of mirror neurons at work, which is really, really cool. So I wonder, have you felt that when looking at somebody else's comment and it actually caused you to engage? Yes or no in the comments. Yeah, Jason is saying we're all AI. Renee says like when you fall off your paddleboard right in front of your pro level partner. Yes. These are all things that are really important to understand, because I want you to remember this as you create your own content. It impacts how your launch ultimately converts. So let's go a step further. I see CK saying yes, Gail saying yes. Let's go a step further. So there's this saying, you've heard it probably, right? There's people buy from the heart. So let's explore what actually drives that action. We like to think and we say that we're logical creatures. But the truth is we make decisions emotionally first, and only after that do we justify it with logic. And scientists call this affective primacy. It means that your emotional brain is responding before your rational brain even kicks in. So we're attracted to products that create positive emotions in us. And this is why somebody might say, oh, well, I just felt like I had to join your thing. And then they will say, and the content looked like it would be valuable to me too. They are responding on emotion, right? I've had so many people buy a new product that I'm announcing and then email our support desk and saying, can you tell me what I bought? I just knew that if Luria is offering it, I needed it, right? Because they are attached to me emotionally and they know that, yes, I provide extreme value. But if you're only presenting logic, like the number of modules or the dates of your program, then you're skipping the most powerful driver. You want them to feel something first. Maybe it's inspired, safe, understood, seen. Then they're going to back up their emotional decision with, and that logic makes sense because of XYZ. Right? Do you currently do this in your webinars, in your virtual events, in your content? Let me know yes or no in the comments as well. So let's take a look at this human behavior and go even deeper, right? Reciprocity. You've heard this word, you know what it is, but I think it's worth thinking about intentionally. It's wired into us. When somebody takes the time to do something thoughtful, personal for us, it naturally creates this sense of connection. We feel seen. And that often makes us want to lean in, to support, to simply stay in that person's orbit, their world a little while longer, because it feels good, because we are emotional creatures. So when you take the time to send a quick voice message or make a short video responding to somebody's comment saying, hey, thanks for that comment. That was a great question. Here's some more information. Maybe you could reply to a DM with a voice message instead of text. You could shout somebody out in your stories because they shared your post or said something nice. Or maybe somebody is on the fence about buying a product and you send a video response answering their question. You're making them feel seen, like they matter, like they're not just a number or a lead in your funnel. They are a human being. And what do they do in return? They lean in. They open your emails, which is what we want. They register for your webinar. They share your event with their friends. They send responses like this. All caps, OMG, I just fell in love with you. Thank you for the message. True example of what over-delivering is all about. All of a sudden, I feel a sense of calm. Thank you. This message came because somebody had bought a product and was a little anxious that they didn't have access to it yet because it was a pre-order. And I literally was just on the couch. I was editing some videos to get that product out the door. And I spent 2 minutes to just do a little Loom video and show him behind the scenes. There's my dog sitting beside me. I'm editing. I'm working on this, getting it out the door. I got you. And he sent that message. It takes so little from us to treat somebody as a human, because you're not teaching, you're connecting, right? Oops. I keep jumping ahead. No, Luria, no. So really, that's what I want you to hear about all of this, right? And I'm going to go into some specific strategies around this concept later for those of you in Zoom, for my Launch Booster Experience students. But the reality is humans are wired for connection, not conversion, right? So when you lead with connection, conversion follows naturally. I want to say that again. When you lead with connection, conversion follows naturally, right? Robin says that really did connect me when you sent the video response to a question. I thought that I should do it too. Yes, we all should be doing it. And eventually that's going to become so ubiquitous. We have to find something else, but that's okay. Just treating people as humans is all we care about. It's one of the reasons that my webinars convert at 660% more than the industry average. Your job is not to be perfect. Say it with me. Type it. My job is not to be perfect. My job is not to be perfect. My job is not to be perfect, right? Got to get out of that. Your job is to be human, because that is what they trust, especially in this world of AI. And don't get me wrong, you have to show your expertise. I'm not saying that you never teach. You are going to teach. You're going to present. You're going to help. But you're not only teaching. So I talked about this concept on stage years ago at Youpreneur Summit in London by Chris Ducker. And after that speech, a woman came up to me and said, Luria, I don't understand. I'm a multifaceted person. I'm a mother, I'm a runner, I'm an entrepreneur. But those things, they don't mix. Like, my customers don't care that I just ran 5 miles this morning. And I don't even know if 5 miles is good or bad for runners, because I'm not a runner myself. And I said, that's where you're wrong. I said it nicer than that, of course. But that's what we need to understand, is that there are 3 universal languages that we all speak: food, pets, in everyday life moments, like the fact that you spilled coffee all over your computer, or your live event went offline because of a power outage, or your kid yelled, "Mom, I pooped," during a webinar, right? We can use these 3 languages in 2 different ways. Katie, thank you. I'm glad that you're loving this. I hope that you all are loving it and really getting and absorbing this, because when we are creating content and we're launching and we're selling, and in order to have a bigger impact in this world, these are the things that actually matter, right? Okay, so we're going to use these universal languages in 2 different ways. One, straight up connection for social or email, but it's not really your primary content, right? Have you ever posted a video or sorry, a picture of your food, and it gets way more engagement, way more comments than like a picture or a link to your YouTube video. Like that's all that happens to everybody. And that is human nature because of these universal languages, right? So that's kind of number one. And if you follow me on social, you saw my picture of me on a paddleboard with Abby, the Chihuahua, in a swaddle on my chest. I had put her in there because she didn't like the paddleboard, and I thought, okay, maybe I could get her used to the paddleboard and the movement if I swaddle her. Worked like a charm, and she loved it. So I sent a picture. I posted a picture of that. People loved that picture. It didn't necessarily have anything to do with my content. It wasn't tied in, and so that's the second form of this that you can do is examples or stories inside of your primary content. So let's take this as an example. And maybe I'm doing a YouTube video on authenticity, teaching some of these concepts we're talking about today, right? And as an example to back up my teaching, I tell the story of when I was live, and some of you will remember this. Tell me in the chat room if you do. My vet calls because Abby was getting her teeth cleaning. And I put the vet on speaker because I didn't want like blank, just nothing happening on screen during a stream. Put her on speaker, thinking nothing of it. And then she proceeds to tell me that Abby needed 13 teeth pulled. She had a lot of disease, and one of the teeth in the back had the potential, when pulled, to break her jaw. And she needed to be told if that was okay or not. Like, do you want me to pull it or not? And that was the most horrific decision to have to make in the first place, let alone on live video. And I'm crying. My audience is crying. The donations for Abby's recovery come flooding in without me asking. And I wrap up that YouTube video that this is an example of by reminding people you don't have to be perfect or on all the time, because people care about people, pets. It doesn't matter if your dog, barks while you're live, all of it. And that connection is way more powerful than any tip or lesson that you can teach. But when we wrap it together, right, then it can actually make your points so much more powerful. So that is what I want you to hear. Yes, I know, CK, you remember that. The point is, if you want traction on your content, I don't want you to teach 100% of the time. I want you to relate. I want you to connect to emotion while you're teaching and outside of that teaching. These things have nothing to do with your launch, and yet everything to do with it. Because when you see people as really human, you stop scrolling. And when they stop scrolling, they start trusting. And we know that trust is when they buy. And I don't want you to do it so that people buy. That's really inauthentic and weird and gross. But I want you to do it because you want to create a relationship with your audience. All right. What was your biggest takeaway? Leave that in the comments from all of that. I am actually going to continue this training with my Launch Booster Experience students who are inside of Zoom right now. That's my program where we're going to dive way deeper into launch engagement with specific tools and strategies to go from public content, building trust, bringing them into your launch, whether it's a webinar, a virtual event, challenge, or any other launch event, so that you can have higher conversions, have better engagement, and most importantly, build trust. All right, what was your biggest takeaway? I'm wondering, I need to try Instagram again. Yes, definitely get back into Instagram. Robin says, be more human and relatable, not just purely professional, different from how I was trained. And that is why I'm doing this video right now, because it is so much more important to not, as Gail says, not just deliver content, but be real with your audience. All right, here's your action step. I want you to look back at your last 5 social posts or content videos, whatever. Do they integrate some of these principles that you learned? If not, I want you to choose one of the examples that I gave and put it in your next video or social post. You got this, and I got you.